Alright, so, oh god. So you have the equation. So you have the equation ax squared plus bx plus c. And they put equals to 0. So a is a number, b is a number, and c is another number. So what they did, so a is a number, b is a number, and c is a number. So what they basically did was they converted all this so that x is by itself, and when x is by itself, it comes up with the formula negative b plus or minus all over the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and then all over 2a. The reason why there's a plus or minus there is because when you're plugging in, when you're looking at the graph, basically there's always the chance of it being a positive and a negative number. And I think he'll probably go over that later, but other than that, don't worry about it. So what they did in that pointer example thing was they took from point A to the final product, which is this negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So if you look at it, so let's do an example problem. Let's see, 2x squared plus let's say 4x plus 1. This may turn out terrible, but so this number right here, this one right here is a. This number right here is b, and then this number here is c. So you get x equal to negative, so you gotta get that x equal to negative b, so that's 4 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 4 squared minus 4 times ac, so a is 2, and then c is 1. 2 times 1 all over 2, and then a is 2, so all over 2a. So then we solve. So we got x equals negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 8. God damn it. That's going to be a weird number. We'll do b, so we're going to change that a to a 3, that way it works out perfectly. So that's going to be a 3. Sorry about that. That may confuse you. So there's a new problem. So you got negative 4 or negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 4 squared, minus 4a, which is now 3, times c, which is 1, all over 2a, which a is 3. So that total will be 12 all over 6. Then we simplify even more, so we get x equals negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 all over 6. Simplify even more, so you get x equals negative 4 plus or minus 2 all over 6. So then you got to deal with that plus or minus if they say solve for x or y. So if they say solve for x, they say solve for x. So x could be either 2 equations because of that plus or minus that's right there. That plus or minus makes it split into 2 equations. So you got one equation which is negative 4, or x equals negative 4 plus 2 all over 6, or x equals negative 4 minus 2 over 6. Then you solve for both equations. So you get x equals negative 2 over 6, or x equals negative 6 over 6, which you can simplify more. So you get, as an answer, you get x equals negative 1 over 3, or x equals negative 1 over 3, or x equals negative 1. And those are your answers. So x could be either x can either be negative 1 over 3 if the equation is positive, or x can be negative 1 if the equation is negative. There's probably some fancy term, but I can't remember it. So we'll go over it again, just to make sure. So you got a equals a number, b equals a number, c equals a number. And then what they did in that problem you sent me was did a bunch of work to get this equation right here. So you get negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So then you take the equation or the problem that's given to you and you put it into this formula. If you don't put it into this formula, or at least close to it, or this formula exactly, you're going to have a problem when you come to this. So as long as it's in that ax squared plus bx plus c, you'll be good. Alright, so our equation equals 3x squared plus 4x plus 1. So a is 3, b is 4, and c is 1. So you plug this and make it equal to x. Use this formula right here, negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a, and you plug it in. So negative b, which is 4, so negative 4 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 4 squared, minus 4ac, which is 4, a is 3, and c is 1, so 4 times 3 times 1, all over 2a. So 2 and a equals 3. Then you simplify, so x equals negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 12 over 6. and then you simplify even more, and then you get x to the negative 4 plus or minus square root of 4 over 6, which you can simplify this area, so you get x equals negative 4 plus or minus 6 all over plus or minus 2 all over 6. So then you have to split this into two equations because of that plus or minus. So you have one equation which is the plus sign, and then one equation which is the negative sign. So then you have negative 4 plus 2 over 6, or negative 4 minus 2 over 6. So x equals negative 2 over 6, or x equals negative 6 over 6. And if you simplify this, you get x equals negative 1, or x equals negative 1 over 3. So if it's a positive graph, then it's x equals negative 3. If it's a negative graph, then it's x over 1. But you'll probably get into that winter dealing with this later, and when that happens, I'll help you if you need it. I don't mind at all. Alright, and so that's a problem. And then last but not least, always and forever, I love you. Alright, let me know if any questions, comments, concerns.